Hello, and welcome to my laboratory. I told you that I wanted to experiment and research my brain, so here it is. I took out my brain so I could study all the parts of it. So let me explain to you about the human brain. Right up front here, as would be normal, is your frontal lobe. Right above your nose, my nose actually. There it is, my frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe is involved in the processes of thinking and planning and logic. And so that is what governs all that very meticulous part of thinking is your frontal lobe right there. Now off to the sides of the frontal lobe are the temporal lobes. We have a left and a right temporal lobe. The temporal lobes are involved in processing sound and speech and memory and music. So if you have an ear for music and you're good at it, it's because your temporal lobes are in full swing. And next, behind that, is your parietal lobes, your left and your right ones. The parietal lobes are involved in calculation, movement, recognition, and those long-term memory skills that you need. Beyond that, back here, are the left and right occipital lobes. The occipital lobes, way back here, behind the eyes, way back here, is the part of the brain that's involved with visual processing. And then down below here is the lower part of the brain that is called the cerebellum. It's involved in body position, poise, balance, coordination. So if you're drunk and stumbling around, it's because the alcohol has affected your cerebellum. And probably other parts of your brain too, so be careful. Now, we all know that everybody, for millions of years, all humans has had a brain stem. And that's what that is right down there. Your brain stem is what's involved in the 4 F's, the very basics of life, which is whether you're going to fight or flee, or whether you're going to do feeding, all the basics. And the other F involved in human beings is, of course, sexual reproduction, the 4 F's, the very basics of life. Now, the other thing that you can't see, even though I've taken my brain out, you can't see deep down inside there is my limbic brain, which is the thalamus, the amygdala, the basal ganglia, the pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus. It regulates all of your body organs and hormones and all those functions that go on inside the body. And so now, there's also, you can divide the brain, almost forgot this, into hemispheres. And of course, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. And right in the middle of all of that is what we call the corpus callosum. And that's all these neurons that talk to each other across the hemisphere, the 2 hemispheres of the brain, and they talk to each other and communicate to make it all work together. And so, but in my studies of creativity, what I've learned is that creativity is probably in the right side of the brain. That's what's been kind of said in the literature. There's been some discussion about that, but I'm going to find out. I want to find out if I really have any creative juice. So here we go. Ready to operate? Okay, I'm going to cut right down between my hemispheres. Here I go. Oh my. My brain's kind of mushy. I'm not really too surprised. And let's see. Oh my. Oh, I just got to reach in and find some stuff. Oh, okay, here's my brain. I kind of broke it a little more than I wanted to, but aha, look at there. I found it. It's the part of my brain that is involved in creativity on the right side. Whoops. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, I hope it's okay. Well, it sure is little. No wonder that it kind of explains things. You know, little tiny piece of creativity in my brain. But I've got an idea. I've been studying about stimulating parts of the brain. I wonder if I could stimulate this part of the brain. I'm going to go ask my assistant to do some stimulation on this part of the brain, and we will find out if I can become more creative. I'll be right back.